1, 2, 3,
is
4,
good, actually.
5. Everybody's gonna go and rock some live. I got some vodka, some whiskey too, and I gotta go shake my mumble do.
So, Bob the Builder nostalgia.
Max, hello.
Hi.
So Max is a second year English literature student at the University of Bristol. And he was born in...
April the 30th, 1998.
Okay.
On April the 30th,
On,
1998.
like in the city of...
in the city of Chester.
In the city of Chester, but you grew up in...
I lived 2.5 years Little Sutton, which is near Ellesmere Port. It's in Ellesmere Port, which is northwest on the Wirral. And lived most of my life in Jersey, Channel Islands.
How was that?
Elusive. It was a beautiful place to grow up, but it wasn't a particularly positive experience. But it was. I'm grateful of having grown up there, just because we're surrounded by natural beauty, and that's something that I think every person should be surrounded by.
So Jersey is an island, isn't it?
Yeah.
And where is it?
So it's closer to France actually than it is to England. It's It's off the coast of Saint Malo. It's I don't know how to place it, to be honest. But
so it's kind of like, so is it in the English Channel?
It's in the English Channel. Yeah, sorry, I should have started with that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's right next to France. Really, it's a half an hour. It's an hour on the ferry to France. In fact.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We were once talking when we were like getting to know each other, and well, actually, it'd be quite funny if we talk about how we got to know each other in the first place. No, that'd be a good like context to the introduction to this episode.
Sure.
Yeah, like
so
I'll do this.
Okay.
Yeah, like in your perspective, how was the whole experience? Everything. How was the whole experience of finding a place to live in Bristol after that year you had prior, and also the experience of finding us, specifically Spark and I, in this flat, and then moving in, and the day we met you.
Yeah, basically, how much... I mean, I can go into detail, but it's quite a tedious experience that tested me to my limit.
We have time. People are actually interested in the details. You'd be surprised.
Okay. So, basically, we met on a Facebook classified, like, housing share group, right? I think it was, I don't know, tickets for sale or Clifton. I don't fucking know, man. It was a housing group, actually. So, yeah, I responded to Spark's advertisement saying that you guys were looking for a flatmate. Because at the time I was living in a house share that was less than ideal with a bunch of lads who were lovely enough, but it was just horrendously druggy, horrendously dirty, grimy, and a shithole, really. So I had to get out.
And that was university accommodation?
No, that was private accommodation that I lived in I found through the same Facebook groups, and had sorted out springtime when Corona hit, basically, and I was like, right, I need to get onto housing ASAP, otherwise I'll find myself stranded with nowhere to return to. So, but it ended up being less than ideal, so that's why I ended up acting on instinct and then looking for elsewhere.
There's so many Facebook group pages for housing, and that ticket one. There's an infamous like a ticket sale.
Yeah.
Bristol student activity / party festival club reused tickets group that is very popular within Bristol students and just young people in general in Bristol, I think. Or is it mostly university students that use that group?
I think it's you'll find it's mostly university students who are trying to resell tickets, sell on theirs, so they don't have, they haven't wasted money on a ticket for an event they won't be able to go to. And I posted my band ad on one of those. I think it's pretty random. It's generally tickets, but it could be anything.
Oh, you've already got. So Max. Oh, we can actually go into this topic.
Oh, I dropped that way too soon.
No, actually, we'll get into that soon.
Okay.
So yeah, you were going through looking for a place through the Facebook groups.
Sure.
Then you found Spark's advert for this flat.
Yeah.
And you messaged him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was under the impression you guys were two budding media students, and I was trying to kind of get a better impression through looking on your Facebook profiles as you do, like a stalker. Yeah, no, basically I just briefly spoke to Spark, and like, as I said, he kind of left me, and I guess he was speaking to other people as I was as well, and then I ended up about, like, was it 3 weeks later maybe, or a fortnight, what felt like a lifetime. For in the meantime, I was looking at house shares and going to viewings and stuff, and loads of things fell through. So I was so relieved when when Spark got back in touch. Yeah. I was like, yes. I was literally jumping in the air with joy with Octavia. I was like, fucking housing situation sorted.
You were pretty stressed. I remember you told us the day you moved in, after we were chilling in like in the living room.
Yeah, I was stressed, but that stress kind of melted away when I was greeted by Iggy and Maria, in fact, at the door.
Oh yeah, she was here.
She was there as well. So my first impressions were very warm ones. And you know, we spent that evening doing that. What was the game? Questions to fall in love. That Spark insisted on playing.
39 questions to fall in love with someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which how many times have we played that?
I don't know. We've played it too many times, and I'd say you're a good friend for sure, but I'm not yet fallen in love with you.
We haven't reached that barrier yet. We haven't come out of the closet.
No.
So then the day Max moved in, so you moved in.
Yeah.
Is that the conclusion of that story?
I mean, I wasn't sure how much of the story. It's not really got a narrative, is it?
Not really.
It's just a sort of isolated but basically that's set our scene. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's set our scene. We're housemates.
Yes.
Is this a house share or a flat share? It is a flat share.
This is a flat.
Yeah, it's a flat share.
So what's the difference between a house and a flat?
Well, this is a house section.
No, but for people who don't know what a flat is in the first place, because flat is a very British term.
Is it?
Yeah, because Americans they say apartment.
Yeah, true that.
True that.
In the words of an American.
That do be true though.
Yeah. Fuck me. Sorry.
We won't get it.
I've already sworn too many times.
Oh, that's fine. I haven't sworn this episode yet.
Oh, that's good.
That's quite interesting, yeah. That's very positive, by the way.
I've set the bar pretty high for swearing within the first 10 minutes.
It's fine, man. Like, it's like, oh yeah, you're fired. From what? From nowhere. So, what?
Yeah. Well, basically, I mean, I would pose a question to you, in your words. What's happened since? Like, what's led you to invite me on and
invite you on the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's becoming some sort of weird tradition by now that I'm interviewing every single person I live with, because well, not only the people that I tend to live with happen to end up being good friends of mine or just very interesting people. It's also, I mean, with the lockdown and coronavirus happening, I can't really interview anyone.
That's fair enough. There you go.
And I don't want to do this via like video calls, because I could do that and it's easier. Well, maybe it's easier, but it's just, I think you lose a lot of the actual personal experience of being in the same room and the companionship and the actual body language and the whole experience of interacting with someone in person to person, like live. Plus, it would be a bit disappointing if I start doing it via video call, because the sole purpose of this whole podcast, well, one of them, not the sole purpose, sorry, one of the reasons why I'm doing this podcast is to get better at my social anxiety, and it's kind of like a self-therapy in a way.
Yeah,
because it's no bullshit, sin pajas.
Well, I think having an honest conversation is always a form of therapy in a way. You know, if that's and that's what your podcasts are, really. They are honest conversations. And
maybe most podcasts. I don't know if I've identified any podcast that's like
Pajas.
That's full of pajas.
Pajas. What's the Guatemalan
I keep
for
shouting into the microphone. Sorry?
like? Yeah, sorry. What's
Doing it.
What's Guatemalan for like bullshit? Pajas.
Paja. So
Paja.
paja is kind of like lie, and well, so on the first episode of the podcast, I explained it oddly. I don't know if I explained it really accurately. Paja, it can mean masturbate, like pajarse,
This is like
to
no
masturbate.
November, basically.
No, what? No. And paja also means hay, like what the horses eat.
Okay.
Hay.
Yeah.
And then paja also means lie.
Ah. Okay. Yeah. Well, bullshit.
Bullshit.
Oh,
Yeah. So then when I was thinking about how to name the podcast, I don't know, I was thinking about like, it's something similar to self-development, and I want people, whoever listen to it, whoever is interested in listening to me speak about whatever, it's also kind of like will grow with me, in the sense of I'm not the perfect human, therefore this podcast is kind of a reflection of how my self-development is going.
Okay. Yeah.
And at the same time, well, self-development goes hand to hand with learning. And then, in my opinion, one of the best ways to learn is through conversations, through people's experiences.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's like fucking just also shooting the shit is nice.
Just the what?
Shooting the shit. Just chatting for the sake of chatting.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
Do you think that chat, like when you do talk to someone, do you think there's always a motivation behind having a conversation? Or does there not have to be? Like, do you think speaking for the sake of it with someone is a necessarily like stupid thing to do, or is that like?
Well, but depends on the context.
Because I hate having you know, when you like have to have that small talk with someone just because it's. I don't know. I think it's mostly just because like you have to protect a person's feelings. Like when you have like nothing to say to someone, but you say it anyway. I think it's also quite maybe not British thing, but it's certainly something that like society encourages, to just have that run of the mill conversation. I just can't bear it sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
Is it the whole traditional? Oh, hi, you're right, Sam. Oh, all right. Not too bad. How are you, Kelly? All right.
Kelly?
Not too bad. Not too shabby.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, day in and day out, copy and paste.
Yeah, copy and paste is fantastic.
And then and whoever's saying, oh yeah, not too bad, you just look at them and you're like, mate, are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like some people, not everyone.
Yeah.
But some people are like, dude, are you serious? Like, are you fine? Not too bad. Jesus Christ. Like, have a seat. Have a drink of water, man.
When you're high and being asked if you're okay, and it's like, and it means something else. it means, are you high right now?
Oh.
Or are you?
Like, so to people who are listening, so a lot of people listen to it. They don't see our facial expressions or anything. I don't know how to put that into words.
What?
Actually, maybe it's not. It's an inside joke.
Okay. Inside jokes aside, I think it's true that you do have to have like those intolerable conversations where you just spout copy pastas to someone for the sake of it. Hashtag relatable.
But yeah, I mean, depends on how much effort you want to make, and depends on if it's worth it, depending on, I guess, who it is. Like I don't know, dude. It depends a lot on what the interaction is, and who it is you having the interaction with, and who that person is in your life.
But you do acknowledge that you do that as well. You just have that like chit chat.
But it's not my first choice.
Okay.
Like, I think at least nowadays, my first choice will always be, well, depending on where I am, or for example, if it's work, if it's a shift, if I'm working alongside someone I don't know, well, if I ask them a question, I expect like a genuine answer, and if they ask me anything, I'll answer them like honestly and be like, oh, what's up? Like, what do you do? Yeah. Like, especially now that I have the podcast, every single individual, every human being I meet is a potential guest.
Yeah, I've noticed. It's nice that you seem like very passionate about humans. To be honest, you do. I think that's like also. I think that is basically what I was saying. It's just the other side of the coin. It's whether that person is being honest with you. That's dependent on. Well, that's reflective of your perception of the conversation. Like I can see an exchange as being meaningless or frivolous, but actually it could be that I have always been prepared to be honest with someone, like, and I think I can be too honest sometimes, but I think when you are in an exchange with one person who isn't giving you a genuine answer or being genuine with you, then you tend to just sort of be like not genuine from that point on with that person or yourself. Do you know what I mean? Or is that am I being pajas?
No, no. I think I know what you mean.
But that's kind of what I took from what you just said, anyway.
Yeah. It makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah.
It's. I don't know. Conversations are cool and interesting, and I didn't pay attention to how my conversations went in my life until last year, pretty much. And I think where I got that information from was I probably when I was going through in my early days of self help journey in one of the binge watching self help porn sessions of probably watching a Jordan Peterson clip on YouTube.
Yeah.
I probably watched the one in which he's talking about what were we talking about before this? Before I started talking?
We're talking about conversations and how if they're genuine, you're genuine, and if they're not, you'll tend not to be.
Well, he talks a lot about honesty. But there's a specific video in which he's talking about, oh, I skate the skates. This is annoying.
Oh, it slightly slips your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get.
It'll come back to me. But it was one of those videos, and oh, wait, no, but we lost completely the trail of conversation.
Bro, it's alright. I was lost minutes ago. I'm glad
Okay,
you were
fair
the
enough.
first to be caught out for it.
Well, welcome to Sin Pajas, the show where there's exactly no train of thought, like no linear line of conversation. Well, that's why. Well, that's why I don't have a degree, man. So you should. Why are you taking this seriously? You shouldn't.
No attention span. No, but the thing is, I'm at this point in time. The only reason that I am actually continuing on with my degree is probably because there's a few reasons, but one of them is I've worked so hard to get this far, but I don't want to give up. It's like this attitude of not giving up. Oh, you've only got 18 months left of it now. Might as well. Oh, it's only 18 months. Hang on in there. But it's also because I think, like, why the fuck am I talking about this now? I don't know why. But
well, I said that I just pretty much said that I didn't have a degree.
Yeah, no memory. Yeah. No, basically I was just going to say, like, because it's like quitting before you finish something is a sign of cowardliness to me. No, to me now, because I've been told that now. Yeah. I've quit in the past nearly everything that I've attempted to apply myself to. So I have now taken it upon myself not to ever do that unless it's something I'm sure there's no point doing. There's no point pursuing because it's a waste of my mental energy and time, money or something. But like university, I'm kind of trying to stick out only because I know sensibly that I could be doing other things. Like I could actually be doing things. I'd probably be happier if I was doing other things. I could be elsewhere. I have plans, reasons to be. But I'm doing it because if I quit now, it will be like the latest thing in a series of give-ups in my life, like giving up on things and leaving a kind of breadcrumb trail behind you with things that you've given up on. I've given up on.
But what would be the reasons why you would quit in the first place?
Well, the reasons I would quit is because in this economy, like it's going to prove probably as good as nothing to have an English lit degree. If I wanted to, and then the only reason I would do a degree such as English lit is because I was passionate about it, which I am. And I'd want to get a job in it if I could, which I will not be able to in this economy. So then why am I doing English lit as opposed to music, art, drama? I used to do a lot of those things. Well, I would like to be doing music, art, or drama. I don't know which of the three.
Wait, what does
An
English
degree
what does
would be
English
my second choice, to be honest.
what does English lit go under which branch of degree? Like, is it
It's
still under the arts?
Yeah, it's a humanities.
It's still a humanities.
It's academic.
How different is an English lit degree to a music degree? Or
I would imagine it's worlds apart. It's an entirely different. But yeah, it's entirely different.
But in terms of employability and market,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so if it's as good as a music degree in terms of employability, and if it's as good as an art school bloody diploma in terms of career opportunities, as if I would care as an artist anyway. Well, fuck it. I should have gone and done something creative, but because I'm not, it's like I'm doing sloppy seconds. It's kind of how I'm thinking of this whole fucking degree at the moment. So I'm like of the mind that I really would have like taken up a trade sooner rather than later, especially in this, as I said, this climate.
Talk about woofing.
And woofing.
Yeah, what's that?
So woofing is it's Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms. It's an acronym, and it basically is just an organisation that promotes or hosts. It's now a website that hosts profiles of organic farms across the world. I'm pretty sure it started in Australia in 1970, so I imagine it was paper, it was paraphernalia then. Now it's online, like everything is, and basically it's like a social media where you can contact people, or they can contact you.
That's a craft. No, that's like at least it's a skill. It's at least some sort of.
No, I meant like a trade.
Sorry.
A trade. Oh. But yeah, no, that's why I would. That's
not a craft. Yeah, not a craft.
No, but you're right in saying that, and like that's actually why.
Do you want more coffee?
Yeah, why not? Thank you. That's why I do it, because I like at least the idea of doing things with my hands and doing things that are, I guess, older and more ancient than sitting at a laptop. Things that I feel like man was supposed to do with his hands, with his faculties.
Well, today you even mentioned you would have considered doing metallurgy.
Yeah, I would have considered. This was kind of an off the cuff remark, to be honest, but I've heard a lot about it, like from people that like who've mates of mine who have done welding. One of them's done welding. I was basically just saying I would like consider doing welding.
Well, welding, welding, not metallurgy.
Off the cuff remark there. Hemorrhaging.
Huh?
Hemorrhaging, I thought you said.
Hemorrhaging, like
having a fucking heart attack or something.
Oh no. So with all that into consideration, why did you choose English lit in the first place? English literature.
I do genuinely love to read when it's the book that I love. But I wanted to get to grips with the Western canon, so to speak, as if that's not a very politically correct thing to say anymore. But
the Western canon.
The Western canon is in the body of literature that spans the Western world and came out of predominantly Europe and North America.
So why is that politically incorrect?
Only because there's this attempt to decolonize the curriculum, especially with what's gone on in the past few months and stuff.
So is this the topic that all like, at least nowadays in modern media, is called like all the topic around what the intellectual dark web speaks about, about calling out the certain philosophical trend that's taking over universities.
Yeah. Well, what's the question? Like, would I? Yeah, I definitely recognise that there's something is happening. Something's possessing academia. Something's infiltrated the woodwork. But
so English literature would help you kind of like research that into more depth, into its roots.
Yeah, I was really like at the time I chose my five universities during the UCAS process. I was like doing a lot of creative writing and stuff, and I was also thinking about like how badly universities were like to not. I'm not now going to make it about what I believe in or my beliefs or anything, but I was just thinking about how lopsided things are at university, and they're very much like left leaning, So I was like considering all this at the time of applying, and I was thinking, I could use this also as an opportunity to just research what I want, really, because you do get a lot. That's one thing that's really good about uni is I found is that you get loads of intellectual freedom. Still, you obviously if you're a person who's got a free and open mind, then there's no reason that you can't write about whatever you want.
Mm.
And
At least it should be that way.
yeah, and to be fair, like I'm really just referring. I'm like one example. I was really looking forward to reading Byron, Lord Byron. He's an English author and a politician, and I'm literally being so petty right now in what I said because I'm just like I was really just looking forward to reading that, and it ended up being replaced by something less relevant, but that is relevant to the slave trade. And to be fair, Bristol is obviously a city loaded with It's a problematic history, basically. Very, very not problematic because that's like brushing it under the carpet. It's got an outrageous history, in one sense. So I can see how that is, but it's throughout the year sort of thing, and it's pretty constant. And so I was like, don't know if I really want to give so much of my time and energy to a degree that doesn't really interest me. A lot of what it says, I feel like I sort of see through in a way. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just very, it's very left wing and it's very biased, and I don't trust anything that's very biased.
So 2 questions. First one, who's Lord Byron? And second one, what do your professors say about this point of view?
So, Lord Byron, I've literally no idea how to start talking about him just because I don't know nearly enough about him. But
or at least then the book.
Basically, he wrote Don Juan, and it's like basically he was an English poet and politician. And he was just really the reason I think he was unpopular. I'll speak about why he's an unpopular poet of choice, probably, is because he was a womanizer. He was affluent. He came from privilege, so he inherited an estate, and he was also full of himself. He was pompous. He was aristocracy effectively, an Etonian, and. You must have seen, just as a casual observer, all the stuff about, fuck off back to Eton, all these posters around campus and stuff around Bristol. Yeah, so it's like that, basically. That's why I think... and also because he was a Tory, he was a conservative politician, even though he spoke quite philosophically about politics. He said that if he did politics didn't interest him, but if he were to choose to be a humanitarian one day, I think the next he'd choose to be be in favour of like a dictatorship the next, and so he was very inconsistent in his own politics, and but yeah, I don't know. I think he's just probably not very popular for some of those reasons, like some reasons. And for those reasons, not chosen to be taught, and instead we learn about stuff.
So for those reasons, he's kind of been excluded from the curriculum, or at least from the reading list. And do you think that comes out of maybe you can answer the second question with that?
Yeah.
Is it because why do you think that is?
Why do I think that is?
Like, why do you think specific authors have been excluded from the reading list and the curriculum?
It's got so potent, so fast, as in terms of politics, but also like subject matter. All I will say is a very complex, and I think one of the reasons is because there has to be a prevailing narrative. Because this is also why I chose English Literature degree, because we tell stories as humans, and those stories assist in passing on value systems, beliefs, if not values, because if you can't substantiate them, they are merely beliefs. They're not appreciated by a culture of people, and if they are, then they become those value systems, those values become part of that group. Do you know what I mean? So that's why we have bodies of literature that reflect ancient value systems. And I think there's been a new value system since I'm going to say like World War Two.
Mm-hmm.
Since World War Two, there's been a new value system, and it's also run parallel to what's happened in terms of our foreign aid and our immigration policies and decolonization, overarchingly decolonization basically, and especially Britain, because obviously we relinquished and the empire ended around that time. So post-colonial studies is really big in literature. It's in fact it's like that. It's in a, I don't know if you describe it as like a genre. It's not a genre, but it's a branch of academia unto itself. So, what was the question, man? I completely got lost.
Oh, it was pretty much what the professors like. What do you think your professors think of your perception of your degree and the way?
Oh, I don't share it. I've never been so public with it. The fact that I'm speaking about it on a podcast is unnerving, to say the least.
Okay. Well, it's very brave of you, to be honest.
Cheers.
And it's like anyone who tells you otherwise can fuck off. Because just sharing your ideas publicly,
Yeah.
that's what all democracy should be about.
Yeah.
Or at least living in a free country.
Mm.
You should be able to. Well, that's freedom of speech, pretty much, isn't it?
Irrespective of politics,
Irrespective of politics,
systems, you should, as a person, be able to say what you suspect.
Yeah.
what you
believe in.
What you believe in.
What you think.
No, because actually, at
but
this
what
point,
you think is true.
I'm trying to air questions. Really, that's all I've ever been trying to do. But a lot of this stuff is met with hostility. So, not this stuff. I'm not. I've just said a bunch of things, but I just mean like, I just didn't. I basically, the crux of it would be, I didn't have as much faith in. I didn't believe in the integrity of my degree because I recognized how much of it was going to be politicized.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's, if you move away, and this is why, like, because university is such an incubator, especially the University of Bristol, I didn't understand the extent to which it was a incubator for upper middle class London metropolitan young adults, and they themselves come from an echo chamber, because they exist in these pockets in a city that is extremely diverse. And so to exist in an echo chamber in a city that's so demographically diverse, that you're obviously sticking to yourself. It's sticking to yourself. You're there's like an attitude of champagne socialism. It's hypocrisy in university as well amongst the students. It's like defeat. It's like they start spouting Marxism and talking about the lumpen proletariat, but this is just I'm being tongue in cheek, right? They start talking about Marx and then thinking of like liberating the proletariat, but they themselves are not the proletariat, and then they start hating on the bourgeoisie, but they are the bourgeoisie, and then they start, but they haven't looked into themselves for long enough to realize that they are the state. They are the what's the word, man? They are the authority. They are the fuck.
Well, they are the same devil they preach about.
No, not even. They are just. They want to be rebellious. They want in what they say. That's why they quote Marx, and because as a young adult in a generation, an unprecedented generation where you can get away with acting like a 17-year-old well into your 20s, you have these rebellious, edgy university students that think that Marx is cool and he's rebellious to start fucking quoting, or it's just been ingrained from where, like, and yet they are like the epitome of, they are their own joke in a way. Like they are literally the bourgeoisie. They come from upper middle class backgrounds, and they don't actually have an understanding of the realities of what's left of the working class sort of ways of life in this country and across Western Europe, and it's also, you can kind of see that what's happened since the baby boomers, since the cultural revolution of the 1960s has taken its toll on the younger generation, because they are very, and I also feel very misled. You know, there's not that guiding hand that there once was. Did someone call?
I think so. So, did someone call?
I have no idea. Was that? I thought it was a female voice.
Okay, well that's a good transition actually to the next part. Whilst I fix the camera because I stopped recording, maybe you can answer this, and maybe I'll open the door and tell Spark that we're in the middle of something.
Yeah.
So out of all the options,
knives and forks.
come on. So out of all the options of where to go to study and where to live, a question would be: why did you choose the University of Bristol, knowing that Bristol itself is such a, you could maybe say, progressive liberal city?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Yeah, maybe that.
No,
and like
no,
and,
go on,
and, and,
go on.
and is English is Bristol a good university for English literature?
Answer to those two questions is just that, to be honest, my university choices were not thought through at all, and I chose Bristol, which was my first choice, and a choice I didn't think would come to fruition because I didn't think I was nearly smart enough to get in. But I chose Bristol on the grounds of having actually visited the city like 5 years before, when I was 14. I was 14, 15, so like 4 years before, because I was in Bristol on an acting trip, and
On an
really liked
acting
it.
trip.
Yeah, I was acting as in drama. So I was there on a drama. I was doing a performance at the Bristol Old Vic and had a look at the city, basically. Not for university reasons, just because, you know, we went on a tour bus, and I was really interested in it already because there were loads of punk bands that I liked that came from Bristol. So I was I was very curious about the city, and one of my favorite punk band, Chaotic Discord, comes from Bristol. So I was like, big ups Bristol already.
Okay,
and
so
then,
perfect transition to art and music.
Okay.
Punk rock,
Mhm.
which is pretty much a synonym of what Max Woods is. So punk
Don't know
rock.
about that.
It's not pretty much a synonym because that's very a bit rude, like too complete.
No. I would be honoured.
Oh, really? Okay, that's pretty sick. Okay, yeah, man. So your genre of music, your favorite genre of music is punk rock. Why punk rock?
My favorite genre in the music at the moment, but it also was when I was a kid. So I'm like revisiting it, and I've never stopped loving it. It's brilliant. It just captured my rebellious streak as a kid, but I also found it could be very emotional as well, like, because, you know, I think you have to relate to the emotional impetus to punk, which is obviously anger or something along those lines, but it's often complex anger. It's not just a, you know, so it's an emotional thing. I can relate to it emotionally, and sometimes you don't want to always. That's why you can't listen to it all the time unless you're fundamentally nihilistic, and, you know, unless you're content in being angry all the time, you have to listen to other stuff, and you hopefully like to listen to other stuff. But punk's been a mainstay because of the energy and because of like how much it's the irony of it, how much it's changed the mainstream and become the mainstream, which was inevitable. But it's still seen as a rebellious, but it's obviously ignored. The impact of it as a cultural phenomenon is ignored. And so it's become the mainstream, but it always hates on the mainstream in it.
What do you mean? What do you mean it's been ignored?
it's been the impact of punk has been ignored. It changed rock and it changed pop music, and youth culture and subculture.
Wait, in
Whatever
what way?
that
In what way
means.
did it change rock and pop music?
You not heard like that? It's the harder all the like the. It is a nihilistic sort of it's the hedonistic sort of culture of like rock music. The nihilism of pop and rock music, a lot of it comes from punk. I think people, the artists are fucking quote unquote people who manufacture music now. A lot of them are designed to be edgy, right?
Yeah.
Well, that whole edginess comes from punk. All of that aesthetic, that the very roots of it, punk rock, but also just music, just sonically, it a lot of it. I guess a lot of it is definitely traceable to punk in some ways. Definitely, I'd say. Not obviously like shit you hear on the radio, but like even in fashion, like fashion's been impacted by punk in so many ways. Like a lot of what Bristol uni kids wear is taken a lot of the inspirations from punk, for sure. Like it's traced back to late 70s London, punk explosion, 1976, 77, and it's weird because like only now there was like even a festival in London. There was a year dedicated to the punk explosion. There was a year in London of festivals and gigs and like exhibitions dedicated to the happening of punk. It's
What?
real. It's real. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not underground anymore. That's why I was like I lost faith in it. But it's undeniably great, but it's also so ironic. I think it's just so ironic, but it's fucking great because it's a timeless anger. It's a timeless anger, and I wish there would be a revival. That's it, really.
Okay, and now tell me about
Wait,
what
I've no idea.
happened at Winter Gardens in Blackpool and what's GBH?
What? What have you been looking at my photos or something on Instagram, mate? GBH gig. Well, that was a photo. Oh, I was I was just basically going to Rebellion Festival and yeah, it was really good. It was like it's like a funk festival that's held in Blackpool, and it began in like '96, and I went in 2018. Was it 2018? Yeah, 2018. GBH, a street punk band from the early 80s. Actually, they formed in 1977, I think, in Birmingham. And because they came from Birmingham, they're really influenced by the heavy metal sound of bands, well, not like Motorhead, because Motorhead were fucking cutting edge. Motorhead invented this really heavy guitar sound in heavy metal, bass, sorry. So the bass guitar was just jacked up, and they were a really influential heavy metal band. And yeah, and then there was Judas Priest came from Birmingham, Black Sabbath before, and the two aforementioned bands was Black Sabbath who came from Birmingham. So they kind of influenced the sound of GBH, and they're just this really like hard hitting street punk band from the early 80s. And Rebellion Festival happens every year before obviously coronavirus.
And how was that concert? And how was that festival that you attended?
It was fucking so good. It was so much fun. Much fun, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
man.
Yeah, your picture looks like fun.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, so that was like me caught at I wouldn't like you can only have a photo like that if it's taken by someone, obviously.
Yeah.
It's just such like a fucking
Energetic.
Yeah,
Just like
a real moment.
mm-hmm. You captured it perfectly.
Man, I was just so gassed to see them live. I'd been listening to them for all those years since I delved into them when I was like 10, and I was just like so gassed to hear that in real life. It was so good, man. Yeah, it was so good.
And
super good.
does your whole now we can talk maybe a bit about your whole fashion style stems out of your love and passion for this type of music, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's true.
So what's your like mental process of selecting what are you going to buy or where, and how does that connect to bebop?
Bebop. Bebop, but isn't like jazz?
No, depop.
Oh, depop. I thought you said every time you say it, I think you're talking about the jazz, like, you know, bebop. Bebop.
No, I don't
No. Okay, fine. Depop. Oh, I haven't been very active on Depop. I just use
Okay,
it
so
'cause,
like
yeah,
I think less than
I'm addicted
80% of whoever listens to this podcast knows what that is, because I had no idea what it was before I met you guys.
Depop is such a cliche, man. That's such a Bristol cliche. Every kid has a Depop. Every adult has a Depop, even in Bristol probably. Every dog has a Depop. It's just a way of selling clothes. It's like eBay, but more. It's like the same format, the same layout as Instagram. So it's like social media slash auction. Well, it's not an auction at all. It's just you put buy it now prices. I'm used to using eBay. Fuck. That's why I make money, because I buy things on eBay and make money on
You sell
Depop.
them
I shouldn't be saying this on. Everyone does that as well now, so that's not even an original thing to do. So basically, charity shopping I'm addicted to, and it's just easier to sell things that I no longer wear. So that's how I end up buying new stuff, and I just buy the stuff that I want.
Or do you go through the whole process of packaging stuff and mailing it?
Well, yeah,
Oh,
I know it's a bit tedious, but like surely you could easily make a
yeah,
stop
definitely.
to the
But
post office.
I've never actually
You're
thought about
a
it.
productive guy. Yeah, I mean, I haven't done it in a while. I've just set up a new Depop because, oh, fuck it, I'm talking about Depop.
No,
Jesus.
the question was Depop.
Yeah.
The question was about Depop.
Yeah.
Because I'm a noob with Depop wise. Like, actually, I don't know
honestly.
anything about it other than you sell clothes through it, people buy clothes through it, and millennials like it. And also adults, apparently.
Gen Z.
Gen Z, sorry.
No, Gen Z. Yeah, Gen Z. Zoomers.
Zoomers.
Yeah, they use it, man. Because it's, I don't know. But, what was the question?
So that was more like the second question, like what the
Okay.
hell is Depop?
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Which I think you've answered. And the first one was,
Yeah.
what is your mental process of selecting or choosing what like clothes to buy / wear, stemming out of your love for the genre of music, punk rock?
Literally just, I don't really. I just, yeah, no, I do. Honestly, at the moment, I swear I'm just trying to recapture the stuff that I used to wear the first time around.
First time around when you started liking
Yeah.
liking
Because
it?
I was just obsessed with it when I was like, and it's mad, but I was 10, 11 at the time, and I was just really into it to the extent where I was like, I want to wear the clothes, I want to be a punk.
Do you have the hairstyle?
I had spiky, short hair.
There's a picture of you, you know?
Yeah.
I'll find it.
Yeah. But then the fucking, like, I remember being at the hairdressers and stuff, and like asking, can I have my hair cut the same length all over? Just want to spike it up. I want it to be. I was embarrassed to say punk, but they would.
Spike it up, bro.
Just spike it up, bro. Punk it up, man.
Punk it up, man. Are you not punk enough?
Brud.
Do you even live,
Brud.
bro?
I just said brud. Brother. But yeah, like, and they would always do like a footballer's haircut, because you know, like at the time David Beckham was popular and fucking, so they would spike the hair up at the front, just the front, and I'd get so pissed off because they'd cut it all wrong, man. So yeah.
Oh, wrong. Did they leave you like that little weird stripe on the side of the head?
Oh shit, was that popular in Guatemala?
Oh my god, dude!
As well?
Every kid in my school who loved football,
Yeah.
eventually they had both of the sides of their head just short, and a stripe, like a weird cut stripe on one side, or two, depending. If you're Benzema, I think, from Real Madrid, I think
really?
2 or 3 stripes or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man, but I was never into football. Okay, like,
No, same.
yeah, perdón mucho.
Same.
Yeah,
that was definitely. Well, did you have like Nike ticks as well at the back of the head?
Oh god, no! What the fuck?
Did you not have that?
Ew.
Yeah, they were called tram lines.
Like an actual Nike.
Yeah.
Like a check.
You know that like classic topic of what's a chav if you're from America and like you ask what like it's like such a TikTok thing now apparently according to Spark it's like
Man,
a
we need
phenomenon.
spark in this conversation, man.
Yeah, no, basically if I was to explain to you what a chav is, right? I'm sorry, it's still I feel like insensitive using that word because it's just an ugly. I don't know, man. It's just. But yeah, it is a kind of crass word. It's like a Daily Mail word, right? But it describes a demographic of now like not really like what like they would definitely have a Nike tick at the back of their hair. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. It's just,
I think I've already talked about what a chav is on the podcast with my sister.
Really?
Or with someone like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've already discussed that. And go back some episodes if you want to see that or Google it.
Google it.
Oh yeah, I mean
TikTok is your best bet.
TikTok, just go. No,
it doesn't really exist in the same way anymore. Chav, it changes, but it's always sort of the same as well. Recognizable. It's a British thing.
Yeah, definitely.
I think, and it's since like Thatcherism, it's been a thing, but not that long.
Nah, Maximus, Arminius. Talk about.
My goodness, I don't know nearly enough again. Sorry to have to ask you to cut, but only because it's too incriminating.
Then don't share it.
Okay, because I would actually that would make it be so bait. Cause,
you can tell me off camera.
Yeah.
Because the point of also this podcast is not to cut anything.
Yeah. Okay. Well then, apologies.
No,
I'm so sorry for doing that.
You don't have to apologize.
I'm so sorry for doing that, but I wouldn't let it out. Even afterwards, I'll just be like, please don't share that. Just because. I mean, I might as well tell you now because I'm not going to ask you to cut anyway. Right?
No, you don't have to. Don't do anything stupid.
Okay.
Okay, paganism and pagan rituals.
Pagan rituals.
Come on, that can't be connected with the last topic.
No.
That'd be hilariously sketchy.
Yeah, I do engage in pagan rituals. I do.
Oh, yeah, but like.
I do offer up deer's heads. No, I'm just joking. I'm joking.
In Bristol.
That was based on my experiences this summer when I was doing the woofing with Octavia. We were in. Well, I had a mind blank for a sec there. Forest Row in East Sussex, and we were working for. I won't say who it's for, but the guy was, because now I'm gonna tell like a story that's quite sketch, but he was fuck. I shouldn't have said it. It's not sketch anyway. Fuck it. Basically, it was just funny as fuck. Really scary, spooky stuff that went on in these woods where we were working. Octavia and I, we would just fencing, taking fence down, and occasionally we'd find bones in the tree tubes that had been put there on purpose because they were wrapped up in a plastic material sometimes. Other times, we'd find evidence of weird shit. Like there was the first thing that we were led on to believe about in regards to pagan practice was that there was something that the professional forager who lived at the commune type place where we were on this farm, he'd not noticed since he'd lived there for like 5 years or something, and it was there was this yew tree out in front, and there was something strange in the trees.
Tree?
Yeah.
What's a yew tree?
It's a tree that's native to the British Isles. It's got very symbolic, very ancient implications in paganism, and I think it symbolizes fertility. So it's actually quite.
Is it any way connected with the god of fertility, the Greek god of fertility?
Probably because. No, maybe I don't know if they actually worshipped. If they were influenced by the Roman pantheon of gods, but I think actually the Vikings were not. They had their own pantheon of gods. So it was not related to classical mythology. It's just I don't really know, to be honest. As I said, I'm not nearly knowledgeable enough, but I do remember this professional forager who also did a university degree and masters in religious studies. So he's a really interesting guy. And Forest Row, where we were, is really known for its new age, unfortunately, its new age religions. So it has a Scientology boarding school. It has this Steiner school, which is a weird cultish, religious. Yeah, Steiner school. So there was another woofer, a long-term woofer, who worked for the Steiner school in the village. So there was this backdrop of new age religions in Forest Row, and we didn't know this until we started working there. But yeah, we found in this yew tree out front, which is in a really spooky. It was on a ledge at the edge. Basically, imagine there's this over 100-year-old beautiful country mansion that's situated at the top of a hill. It drops down into a valley and then it goes up again. And there's a beautiful view from the house of these luscious hills. There's a road running through, but it's invisible behind the trees. And then it dips into a valley and it's just all woodland, beautiful, amazing, just like stepping back in time.
East Sussex,
and it's only like a 30-minute drive from London. But basically, there was at the edge of this field a single yew tree and a ledge that had been man-made, which was just, I think, where the trough for the pigs or the sheep who maybe inhabited that field at some point in the year. It was just water or something. But when we figured out the tree that he was referring to, which was in fact that one, the previous night we were stood there and I was like, something feels really strange about this exact spot here. It's like something quite spooky and I don't really get that. I never get that. Just from natural phenomena. I'm not influenced by horror movies or anything. I'm enough to be like, oh, this is scary, man. But I was like, weird, right? Something feels weird. And then that tree he referred to contained in its branches about 3 decapitated reindeer head. Not reindeer, deer.
Inside the tree itself.
Deer heads on the branches.
Oh,
in the branches.
Visibly.
Yeah. With their antler and everything well, they still had bits of their flesh intact because they hadn't decomposed fully because they hadn't been in the earth. So, and they had tags on them as well. So it was definitely. I have my own theory, which is
all 3 of them
sinister.
had scientific tags.
No, not scientific. No. They were just tied. They were tied into the branches using cable ties. Cable ties.
The ones they used for zip lines.
No, I don't know actually. They're plastic.
Oh, the ones for the ones you can use as
You pull them to tighten them.
Yeah. The ones you can use also as handcuffs.
Yeah. So they'd been fastened to the tree using these cable ties. So they were put there on purpose. Obviously, why wouldn't? I mean, they wouldn't have dropped from fucking heaven, would they? But yeah. So
you grow on them.
Yeah, just these weird fungi, super rare. Yeah, and we also did magic mushrooms when we were there, and we walked into the forest. We went there in the middle of the night, and where we sat leads me to another weird story about the place, which is namely that Aleister Crowley. Have you heard of Aleister Crowley?
Forgive my ignorance.
No, it's not ignorant. It's if you've either heard about it ironically or I don't know, just because he's kind of pop art type fucking Etsy t-shirt vibe thing now. He's associated with Wicca and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not that. Maybe say Satanism. He's associated with Satanism. He was a Satanist and he was dubbed the
I think
wickedest.
you told me about him once.
Yeah, he was called. Yeah, I think I might have. He was called the wickedest man alive, or to have lived. He went to Cambridge University, and was a very, very intelligent man, obviously, and he came from aristocracy, I'm sure, doubtless. He went to university probably around the same. Anyway, yeah, no, he went to university and ended up working at one point for MI6 or MI5, the most secret one, cracking codes in the Second World War. You know, like the Enigma codes.
Yeah, yeah.
I think he did maths or something. He was
Oh,
also
a lot of things clicked in.
yeah, but he also prophesized some things like, you know, the end of the world or something. He I don't know anything, mate. I don't know anything about him. But what I will say is he was a Satanist, and he's associated with like the occult and like evil sort of worship.
What is his connection with East Sussex?
So like basically there's this church that was we were being given a tour by the guy we're working for about a week into our stay, and he led us into the woods, and basically there was this like really ancient looking stone foundation, like it was a ditch right around this foundation, but it was obviously like covered in pine needles and stuff. And I asked him what it was, and he said, "Oh, that's the foundation for the old church." And I was like, "Oh, really? It was a church that stood here." And he said, "Yeah, it was burnt down by some students in the '60s." And I was like, really curious. I was like, "Oh, what? Like, what?" And he was like, "Some University of Chicago students who were on an exchange here." I was like, "That's quite random."
Yeah.
Random thing, but yeah, and I was like, oh, so it was like part of the like sort of Marxist, like countercultural thing of the late '60s, like anti-religion. You know, Marx who famously says that religion is the opium of the masses, and yeah, so yeah, it would make sense that it would get burned down. Then I didn't really think about it.
But by Chicago University students? Yeah. That's really specific.
I googled it out of curiosity, didn't find anything, but I was like, but I guess why would I find anything? It would be quite...
So was it all bullshit?
Old. I don't know. Maybe it is true. I'm not doubt. I don't know is the answer. I have had this conversation with myself, but there's no way of knowing. But what I was told was that by another resident, that it had something to do with Aleister Crowley, and in fact was not burnt down by University of Chicago students. Apparently, Aleister Crowley. This is I should have mentioned. The forest. Half of it, the MI5 own. Half of it, not MI5.
The MOD.
It's Army MOD. It's Army training ground. And like one of the residents, the professional forager, had got into trouble for stepping over its boundary. So Aleister Crowley, back to Aleister Crowley, he worked for MOD, cracking codes, I think was there, and had some involvement in this church burning. And so it had some occult intent, basically, and was related to whatever the fuck Aleister Crowley's about, because I actually don't really care. He seems pretty...
Well, you don't really get... You know so much about him, though.
Nah, because he's like... He's just like a kind of angsty... Like, I don't know how you can relate to that, really. Like, that sort of... That, like... I don't know. It's just like, he's like this... He is like... I want to know what his deal was, but at the same time, there's probably not a lot to learn there, because it seems all quite... It's all quite...
Well, just the whole area of East Sussex, right? There's loads of different, like... what are those... Oh, there's so many like different interesting sites, like pagan sites, isn't there?
Yeah, I think so. I actually don't know. Are there? I don't know. In East Sussex, there probably are. There was. Yeah, no. I'll tell you about the ones that I know about, and they weren't like official pagan sites with stones or anything. But there was like another tree that we'd been told about that was on the road en route from the farm to. That cut across some other woodlands to Forest Road, the village. And on the way, there was this big... I can't remember what kind of tree. I can't remember. But it was massive, like really big. And it had this dramatic, really like weirdly elongated branch that went in like a U shape. It dropped down into like a U shape, and we would always as we were walking back up the way back, especially when we were tired, it was like an hour and a half sometimes to walk there. But on the way, we'd always pass this tree and sit on. It was like this. It made a perfect seat, so we would just sit there or use it as a hammock or something. And apparently, one of the residents,
it was like a single elongated branch.
Yeah.
Oh.
And apparently, one of the residents had spotted on his way back from the village one night. I think maybe on them was near. Maybe I don't know. Maybe this is like some just like fanciful, imaginative detail. But I think he said it was around Halloween or something, maybe. But found loads of these people in like KKK type robes, not actual KKK, but he described it as that. Like
what the fuck?
yeah, like around this tree. Like, I'm not joking. I was like, maybe I would start telling stories if I've been cooped up in this fucking commune for 3 years and it's like, as I said, an hour at least to get to Forest Row, an hour and a half. We would go there back and forth just to buy a BLT. We were craving, man. We didn't ask for enough on the grocery list. We never asked enough on the grocery list. But yeah, anyway. So paganism is really interesting to me. Really interesting to me.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned it.
Aleister Crowley,
insane.
not so much. But like, man, just also, you know that Whinnie the Pooh? We were talking about Eeyore before,
yes,
right?
we were talking about Eeyore. Before the podcast, was it?
Yeah, before the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, Whinnie the Pooh, it was based in the forest there. That was the forest in Forest Row was
deep
apparently...
Deep in the 100-acre wood.
Yeah.
Where Christopher Robin plays.
Right. Okay, I don't know the tune. Go on, sing the rest.
Na 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 and Piglet too, maybe. Na 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 na. There's Kanga and Roo and everybody else. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh shit, that was nice. I never watched it. I don't know how I even... Wasn't there a movie or something?
Recently, with Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's not his name.
Are you serious?
What's his... Oh,
That'd be like, that's a massive fucking fuck up reboot, that. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
No, Jesus Christ, what's his name, man? Rowan Patterson?
Probably.
No,
he plays
that's not his name.
Scooby-Doo, right? With a little cute
I did not,
button
like,
on his nose or something.
For being an ex-film student, no. Oh, come on, could you do me a favor? Could you just press record on the camera?
Yeah.
As in, like, actually, no, I'm not talking shit. It's just like,
Sorry.
There's a word in Spanish for it. Like, you get empalagado.
Empalagado.
It's like when you have too much sweetness, too much of something.
Yeah.
And you're sick of it.
It's like honey.
When you have too much honey.
When you have too much honey, it's
have you ever tried to speak like Winnie the Pooh?
Oh no, I've never actually.
After you eat a marshmallow.
No.
You sound like Winnie the Pooh when he's eating honey.
And that sounds like the Chubby Bunny challenge.
No, the Chubby Bunny challenge is stupid. Well, this is highly intellectual stuff.
A hairband. Maybe. Does this look fly like a football player? Like this. Like a
you look a tiny bit like Beckham.
Oh, that's too nice, man. I wasn't asking for that. Thank you.
Next topic. Antidepressants.
Are you serious? Yeah.
No.
No, go on.
I'm serious.
That's alright. No, that's alright.
Well, so no, they kind of like it was so.
So then
it was kind of like antidepressants and what am I doing? Antidepressants and mental health, and also your experience with maybe not those two things specifically, but OCD.
Wait, what my experience with OCD?
Yeah.
Kind of zoned out. I was so mortified by what I've said because over the period of this podcast on
you haven't said anything horrible, don't worry.
Have I not?
No.
Said anything retarded? Oh,
No.
sorry, I can't say that either. Retarded. I was going to say retarded. Sorry, what was the question?
What is your experience with OCD?
My experience with OCD is a highly negative one.
Okay, maybe.
No, I mean, basically, yeah, it's been pretty unpleasant. But OCD, I would say everything I'm going to say, I'll just to raise awareness, so to speak, because there is a lot of ignorance around it. Like,
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what you actually rephrased my question in a better way. Kind of like what, in the sense of awareness or just OCD generally related.
Did I give you enough? Cheers.
You have an experience with it on a daily basis.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. It masks itself. It's not... It basically manifests itself differently depending on the person or the type of person to an extent, but it also changes form. So like it can change, it can be, there are 3 different types of OCD. I think there's physical, there's mental, and these are isolated, but they can be you can be a combination of all 3. And then there's also ritual, I think, right? So, and I don't have the ritual so much. I've never really... I've always done things in numbers. Like, I've done things... that's a classic OCD. I mean, like, I can only do things in units of 4. Or, no, does that even make sense? My maths terminology is so bad. But you know what I mean? Like, I have to count 6. I have to do things in 6s. I have to do things in 7s. I have to do things in 24s. 45s or whatever, and maybe I have to switch my bedroom light off before I go to bed, like on and off a dozen times.
Really?
No, these are examples of rituals.
Oh, but you're not the ritual user.
No.
Yeah.
No. But like, yeah, you can also, yeah, like there's loads of ones like that. I don't really know. I'm not really that experienced in that. I never. So really had
which
that.
one?
Mental and physical. Physical is like often contamination. Fears, contamination anxieties, or and contaminated with depends on what, like bacteria or grease, oil, or that's like more me, or used to be.
It's like whenever you come into contact with anything, you're thinking about the bacteria being presently in your hand, on your hands, or on your skin, and therefore you have the urge to go wash yourself as soon as you can.
Yeah, I mean...
And repeatedly until you make sure...
Before I contaminate anything else.
Yeah.
Or before, I don't know, maybe the perception could be before it sinks into my skin or something, right? It could be anything.
Like
it's often magical.
And do you start imagining it like in the visual sense, like really picturesque way?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I think it's often more of a feeling than it is, for me, that it's been, I obviously visualise it, otherwise I wouldn't be able to really have that real visceral reaction to it, this real abhorrence towards the idea of bacteria being present on my skin. So I do visualise it, but yeah, I don't know how I visualise it. It's been a while since I had a contamination. I've had this contamination OCD. I don't really have it anymore. Not at all to the same extent.
So maybe... Nowadays, that you're a university student, and you've said the contamination one isn't that much of a factor anymore.
My OCD has really subsided since I was about 19. Really subsided, and what put what put the nail in the coffin was. But it wasn't the nail in the coffin. It was what really informed me. I would say this summer I did some intensive OCD treatment.
What is intensive OCD treatment?
It took usually it would probably take the form of CBD or no, it wouldn't be CBD. Well, it wouldn't be CBD because that's what
CBT.
That's what doesn't treat. Yeah, CBT. Sorry, because CBT.
Yeah, CBD is the non-psychoactive compound of marijuana.
Yeah, mate. They just give you a CBD coffee and you're all.
Oh, you're done for the day.
That's it, mate. Honestly, it cures everything, mate. Legalize it. No, I'm just joking, but like, I can't even remember. They use dialectical behavioural therapy. It was a cross between DBT. Dialectical behavioural therapy is what they do a lot. They do. DBT. They do. What's that trauma therapy? Anyway, I can't remember.
Exposure to trauma.
They do exposure therapy as well. I never actually had that, but because my my OCD is no longer contamination orientated, and so for me it was. we had to do exposure therapy basically, but it wasn't like touching a toilet seat for me. It was yeah, it was a bit different. Mine's now more mental, purely mental. It's been like obsessive. I've just got very obsessive tendencies, and oh yeah, and basically the way it was described to me by this by my therapist actually in the summer was like OCD is you're highly sensitive to everything, but the things that you're sensitive to the most are negative sensations and thoughts and feelings. And due to that owing to that sensitivity, you'll engage in behaviors that are obsessive, compulsive, disordered in as much as they're really like they impair one's life. Because I was, when I was 17, I was walking around the house with plastic bags on my feet, like I was taking baths in fucking, that Dettol,
Yeah.
like washing machine cleaner that I've used.
So you were taking baths in washing machine detergent liquid.
I was using like antimicrobial, antibacterial stuff. Like coronavirus would have been my element. I could have nicked all the fucking antibac bottles and honestly, I was fucked. I was so bad with it when I was 17. I think it peaks during adolescence is the kind of accepted way.
So, to any teenager listening who might have similar or have had or is going through the exact same things you've been through, what would you suggest?
I would say that if a teenager is listening, I know it's probably just going to drive that person insane by me saying it, because it's a truth that, as someone who suffers with OCD, I knew that somewhere inside I knew that it was eating me alive, and it was insanity, like to just waste so much time, energy, sense of self, everything goes out of the window when you're engaged in these mad behaviours, and there's no way of gaining perspective at the time. It's just like, I need to do this, otherwise my fucking meaning in life like ceases, right? It's mad, but and I don't even know, because I'm not the same. I wasn't suffering with it in the same way as I was when I was 17, when I received this treatment. So I was probably told slightly different things, but I would say that your thoughts don't matter, and that they will cost you everything, because a problem with the essence of OCD is thinking, and you need an obsessive nature in order for it to be a problem, because most people would dismiss a thought if it occurred to them. Most people would recognize it as a thought, but with OCD, and generally I think to a worse extent in OCD, obviously it's kind of inseparable. Thoughts and feelings sometimes feel inseparable, and you have to remember that thoughts are very naturally occurring and brought on by your environment, and you need to treat them as such. And if you give too much weight to fantasies, and if you give too much weight to basically I can only speak from my personal experience, I feel like, because I can't generalize, as I'm not equipped to give advice in any way yet, because I still actually suffer from it. But it lies in thinking, and you need to practice doing, basically. Like, practice doing real life things that have real life consequences, not engaging in magical behaviours based on magical thinking. That if you're able to recognise the fallacious nature of it, please, for the love of God, do something about it, because it will cost you your best years, like it cost me mine. And I don't even know though, in terms of fucking, that's so depressing that I've literally.
No, that's good. I think that's.
Yeah.
I mean, thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty depressing that I don't really know, because. But.
I mean, you.
Contact India Haler. She's the greatest therapist.
Who?
India Haler.
India.
Oh, follow her on Instagram. India, India, Haylor, Haylor. But I'm not sure if that's how it will be spelled on Instagram. But if you Google her, she has, LinkedIn, and she has even a TikTok now. She's going on to different things. She used to be private, but now she's doing less of that. But do pay her a visit.
That's good. Okay, yeah, no.
Is that really bad to say on camera?
No, not at all. That's a good resource if
really
people who
stupid.
actually feel identified with what you said can go to.
Well, yeah, I would recommend her accessing her advice, and she had OCD herself. She had it really bad when she was a teenager, especially, I hear. And so she is equipped, because she is a sufferer still, but she manages it, obviously, because she's a very successful woman and an inspiration. She's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, shout out to India.
Sick. Okay, and then last question to wrap it all up is 2020 has been crazy.
Yeah.
2019 was also crazy for a lot of people. People we know included, and ourselves maybe included, maybe not. 2021, 2022, 2023... 2024, 2025, 26, 7, 8, 9, 2030. Whatever that means, all that in context. What's the meaning of life?
I think I'm too past it to be able to answer that, and to the best of my abilities. What is the meaning of life in relation to those years? I think we need to start addressing the fact that everything is going very fucking wrong, and that it's insane for us as human beings to sit by the wayside, or fall by the wayside, I should say, as we are being consigned to consume from our rooms and just be glutted with Netflix and eat Ben and Jerry's and smoke weed, and not consider the fact that maybe everything in the news is there to socially condition and do the psychic equivalent of lubing you up from the day you were born. And also look into the ridiculousness of this COVID-19 pandemic. That's what I have to say about those years, and I hope this forthcoming one is better than 2020's been, because, man, it's surreal, the times in which we live, and it's fucking weird being alive right now, isn't it?
Yes. And to finish, I will say, love is the answer. And I would probably, to have a bit of context and explanation behind that last statement, is go watch Lex Friedman podcast, and maybe you'll understand, because I am not the best person equipped to explain the reasons behind why that statement can be so powerful and so true.
I thought it sounds like a cranked up lunatic, but man, those are just my words. I probably am. It's been fucking crazy.
It's been I'm not disagreeing with what you said.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with what you said about it has been a crazy, not the most positive ride.
No, but
there is we have only a certain ability to see up to a certain point within our own psyches and within our own perceptions of
Yeah.
what is possible within this life. So
Yeah, that's true.
there's a lot of things happening, and not all of it is negative.
That's true. That's true. I wasn't saying that it was, but the bulk of 2020 will be remembered for coronavirus. And what else? Well, it was Brexit before that. Black Lives Matter during, and I think for a lot of people in a kind of passive way, however, it feels like the world is falling to ribbons, and the media does play a big part in that, and that's why I was stressing that, because and also with the invention of this, it's not an invention, it's true, but this fake news being battered about, this word being battered about, negates everything. And that's who do you even believe in? And so it's complete distrust. I feel like it's distrust. I hope that there's distrust, because I don't know. I don't trust. I don't trust what I hear.
Okay. Well, thank you, Max.
No worries.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was great, man. Thanks very much for having me.
No. I look forward to doing it again.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
We'll have more Christmas vibe next time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we'll talk about Christmas actually.
Yeah, cool.
Because I know you're someone who's very knowledgeable of, at least not maybe the Catholic festivity of Christmas, but at least around the subject of Christmas.
Yeah. I'm learning about it. I like the subject.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. For sure.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's been really enjoyable, man. Thank you.
Alright. Thank you, everybody, for listening. See ya. There's the tiny bottom at the top of the... No. At the back, there's a few buttons. It's the one.
There's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
At the top is the one that gets a bit separated from every other button.